Hello everybody and welcome back to DWR Randomizer. It is Game 2 of the 2025 Co-op Challenge Cup. Currently, the team that you see on the right-hand side of your screen, the Destorius Duo. Destorius Duo has Artorias 308 and Destiny of a Dragon Warrior. They have a 1-games-to-none lead in this best-of-3 series, so they have a chance to win the title tonight. On the other side, trying to force Game 3, Wraithchild, Dragolf, and Metal Dream, looking to extend this series to a deciding Game 3. I'm Archfield. Joined today, I'm restreaming for you, and I'm joined by our trackers, Juef and Shahali. So we're going to get underway here in just a minute or two, but if you're not very familiar with co-op, this is how it works. We basically have two teams here racing against each other. Wraithchild on the left-hand side, Destorius Duo on the right-hand side. They'll be sharing items, equipment, and inventory, everything except for herbs, and their stat builds for what it's worth. They can run separate builds. And those inventories will be shared, and their stats levels will be shared, although they might differ slightly depending on which build that they are running. That means there is an opportunity here at the start of the seed. Anytime you see gold in the throne room, that means you can start with keys because one teammate can wait behind while the other teammate walks around to the back door of Tangel Castle to purchase some keys. So you can see some faster starts in these seeds. You can also take a look at the flags. So follow that link right there. It'll give you the summary rundown, and I'll kind of touch on some of the salient points as they come up during this race today. But here we do have Cursed Belt and gold in the throne room, so as I mentioned, with that gold chest, both teammates on a given team will be able to pick up that gold chest. They'll start with around 12 to 1300 gold, and you are very likely to see a couple of other things here. There's also a hint in the throne room, and Artorias has just checked. That tells us that Brecconary is south. That's one of the flags that is on here. In this flag set for the playoffs of this tournament is that corrected hints are on, so the NPCs in the game who tell you where things are will actually give you an accurate direction. So we know Brecconary is to the south, and we're going to get a peek at the treasury here. Treasure guards are on, so anything important will be covered up by a monster. But so far it looks like we've got just a key and a gold chest in the treasury. Then in the back door with random chest locations on, there are sometimes chests in the back. We see a torch there, which can actually be pretty useful for getting off the ground. And as we take a look at our stats here, you can see that we do not have the highest of strength to start this seed. But right outside, we have still a lot of money left, and we've got the town of Cantlin here. And I think what we're going to see is Metal Dream looking at this chest is probably going to try to grind this gold here, yeah. So with Cantlin right outside, there's a high probability that we'll get a bunch of really good equipment right away. And I think both teams have already latched on to this possibility. And we'll kind of take a look here. We see some kind of intermediate stuff. There was at least a large shield there in the bottom shop. Of course, getting off the ground, it's also very useful to load up on fairy water. But we do have Broadsword and Silver Shield at the top shop in Cantlin here. Dragolf will acquire those as Metal Dream continues to grind money. And meanwhile, those torches that Destorius ground are actually going to take a hike here as Destiny's getting rid of those. Or actually, Or actually, yeah, I see what's happening. They sold... They're going to sell just enough torches. I don't think they have the gold grind available because of the order in which they took those chests. So I think Destiny is selling just enough torches to get a broadsword. So they're not going to have broadsword, half-plate, silver shield like Wraithchild do right now. They're just going to have a broadsword to start off with, but a gold grind is pretty easy to trigger. Just need a couple of chests out of any location which you can die. In this flag set, that can even include some towns. But here in the basement of Tanager Castle, we see Swamp Cave. Metal Dream is attempting to make his way through, has found a couple of killable enemies so far, but this magician with weak breath, posing a little bit of a problem, is going to be not quite enough for level 2. Playing with normal experience thresholds on. So that requires 7 experience points. So Dragoff will get the kill here and will actually get both teams on level 2 at the same time. 4, 7, 13, 21. And the Hurt Spell. So the Hurt Spell could still be of some utility here in the early going. That Broadsword right now, we take a look at the stats. Somewhere around 30 attack power right now, so the Hurt Spell can actually still be pretty useful in this early going here. And as Wander Down mentions in chat, we do have Magicians with heal also, and on top of that, Weak Breath. Metal Dream has entered Garenham. Was very low on resources and was just kind of doing some explore on this other side of Swamp Cave. But Garenham does have keys, so we'll get a check here probably, and with that upgraded equipment, Wraithchild breaking wolves, and so Dragolf able to take that one out pretty easily, gets to level 4 in one pass. And we'll pick up the spell of Stop Spell and some more stats. You can see 50 defense for Wraithchild, and this is probably going to be a pretty big deal in the early going. The offense is usually more important. You can kill things if you have offense and enough hit points, but being able to break stuff in the early grind here, such as Wraithchild are doing, is going to be pretty valuable. Now that said, there is a treasure guard here in Garenham, so we know that there is one of 5 items in that chest. One of our 3 quest items, the Silver Harp, the Stones of Sunlight, or Erdrick's Token, or potentially one of the pieces of Erdrick's equipment. Erdrick's Sword or Erdrick's Armor. Unfortunately, that wizard is a little bit too heavy for Metal Dream to take out right now. Not nearly enough attack power, and it's virtually invulnerable to the Hurt Spell, so they're going to have to pick up some more levels before they can take that out, and saying that Dragolf has picked up level here that is 10302. So the strength just doubled on level 5 from a fairly paltry 10 to a slightly less paltry 20. With Metal Dream and Mountain Cave, we do have a fairy water here on the first floor, and we didn't see much that was especially dangerous in the Swamp Cave zone, so it's possible there's not much dangerous here either. I think we're seeing a little bit of a slow grind for Destorius right now. They probably want to pick up at minimum a large shield, or possibly a half-plate. Yeah, half-plate's there as well, so that's a good inexpensive purchase. Artorius likely to grab another chest here as Destiny scrolls waiting for that large shield, but I did speak too soon about that Swamp and Mountain Cave top zone. There was a blue dragon there. It did send Metal Dream back. So with the agility where it is right now, you would not necessarily expect to survive many turns against them, even with the increased defense that we have right now. And it looks like Wraithchild's going to pick up level 6 right now. 1, 6, 2, 13, and you'll see these numbers come in a little bit differently for our 2 Razors. As I mentioned at the top, both teammates can run different builds. So Dragolf on Strength HP, Metal Dream on Agility, I should say, MP. Artorius on HP MP, Destiny on Strength HP. Now, Wraithchild out here to a fairly early experience advantage, as you might expect, because they were able to leverage that early gold, as well as they've got a reasonably decent zone here in which they can, everything is broken, they're just trying to pick up some early levels. And they do have about a 200 experience point lead over Destorius right now. But I will say, if you viewed yesterday's match, you know that early in these seeds, the early experience can be very useful, and we do have the Hurt spell. So that's something to think about, because the Hurt, the hurt and heal before Moore's flag is on, which means that hurt and heal have to show up before their stronger counterparts, hurt more and heal more. So since they already have the hurt spell, we know that at any level now, hurt more could show up, and if it does, that does break things open to a certain extent. So picking up some early levels when they're still very fast is pretty good, and as you can see, Wraithchild, this next level will be 450 experience points, level 7. So that won't take long. In fact, these two wolves in combination might be enough to do it. There were 33. So that won't quite get them there. They'll be just short, but they really, virtually any encounter, even this red slime, will get Wraithchild the level and they'll see what level 7 has on offer. 8, 4, 12, 8, and Outside. Very useful utility spell. There was Stones of Sunlight Cave just south of the zone in which Metal Dream and Dragolf are grinding. I think that was really close to start. They just hadn't gone, nobody's gone that direction yet, just south of Cantlin, I think. To see what that, to even have that cave on screen and see what it was. A lot of swamp near start, of course, and here we find simultaneously Dragolf and Metal Dream hit a Droll Magi. They do have Stop Spell, but they didn't know about the Hurt More in time, and Dragolf doesn't have any MP, so he's just gotta bail from that encounter. We do see the top edge of the map here, as well as a cave off to the southwest, and I believe that will be accessible, so Metal Dream can maybe head that direction, but unfortunately, an Armored Knight in the route, and he's going to get sent packing just as Dragolf gets sent packing by an Axe Knight. So in the meantime, a little bit of explore here for Wraithchild, and Destorius is picking up levels. You see they're now on level 6. This wolf zone is probably about as good as you might hope to find right now. The HP is not really there for much else until level 7 when you get into the mid-50s, and of course Destorius has a little bit less defense right now than Wraithchild, which does make a big difference when it comes to the kinds of enemies that you're breaking. There's some mid-game enemies that Wraithchild has better access to. But the strength is still rather lacking. Very stark contrast to yesterday's seed. Not even breaking 30 strength yet on level 7. I think they got 30 strength in one level, perhaps the second level, in yesterday's seed, so you see the difference here. Metal Dream attempting to find a different zone, but runs into an Axe Knight in this one. And he'll get sent back. Destorius putting a dent in the experience lead. I mentioned earlier they were about 200 experience behind. As of right now, they're about 100 experience behind. So they have caught up a little bit in that regard. Jeff pointing out simultaneous wolf crits from Destorius. That is not one of the things that is synced up by the Lewis script, so that was just a couple of 1 in 32s at the same time on the same enemy. The next level, level 8, is at 800 experience points. This is normal experience thresholds in this flag set. The reason we do that is because 2 people playing the seed at the same time, gathering experience at the same time, if you play on either fast, which is what you would typically see in standard, or even on very fast, the seed goes very quickly, and that is definitely a different sort of aesthetic than you might normally see. This is a little bit more balanced. You'll usually have a little bit of grinding to do at the end of the seed, but not typically as much as you might in a normal, sort of a standard flag seed. But if you play on fast or very fast in co-op, you usually end up go stats and spells and everything before you've even finished your exploration, so it can be very jetty. That said, we'll still see some jet seeds like the one we saw yesterday. Not going to spoil any specifics of that, but if you are here watching this one, you do know that Destorius has a 1-game-to-none lead. That was a great race to watch. If you haven't watched it, I do recommend it. We are seeing Destorius branch out now a little bit. Still no healing, which is also part of the problem, and Artorius is kind of making his way through this big swamp here. Joef pointing out 46 experience points for the Droll Magi. Those are probably eminently killable. You just have to get your stop spell off first. They seem to cast Hurt More quite a bit. So that's a pretty solid mid-game enemy. Speaking of solid mid-game enemies, a Wolf Lord and a Wraith for Destorius here. If they have no abilities, those are pretty good kills too. Unfortunately, Wraith has Weak Breath and Heal, so that's going to be a tougher ask, unfortunately. In the meantime, Wraithchild, grinding in the starting zone, has picked up the next level. 17, 3, 10, 15 on Metal Dream's side. Roughly equivalent stats for Dragolf on that level. Going to level 8, so you see now HP pushing the 70s all of a sudden. Still no healing, unfortunately, but the MP is looking pretty good. Strength has picked up in the last couple of levels. As I mentioned, those Droll Magi do appear to cast quite a bit, and they actually have another spell there too, Sleep. So if you get a stop spell off on those, they're probably free. And we have the first new town in a little while. On Destorius' side, Artorias has headed through that swamp that surrounds the start and has made it to Cole. There are 2 random chest locations here. There is 1 chest available in the inn, as we see. So we'll probably get a quick check of that. No treasure guard, but it is a replacement key for the one Artorias just had to use. We'll also get a look at the search spot, which is not guarded also, and the reason it's not guarded is because nothing is there. So Cole, absolutely nothing. And Wraithchild making a check that I assumed both teams would be hesitant to check because you just have to use 3 or 4 herbs to get to the coordinates, even though Cantlin is on the starting screen. But we got 64 south, 12 to the west here. And just as Metal Dream makes that check, Destiny's on his way to check it as well. We have not seen nearly enough of the map to have a sense of how countable this is, but I suspect it's not especially countable. Just intuition based on what I've seen from Swamp Cave and everything else so far. We know that it dead ends south here, right where you see Metal Dream on screen, and I'm not even really sure that there's a great landmark to take. So, thinking about these coordinates, I mean, it'll be interesting. The players, as of level 8, do not really yet have the resources to take out many things that are on a spike tile to rescue the princess. Unless that spike tile happens to be nerfed in some way, you can stop spell it and take it out perhaps, but we do get Destiny is starting to do a check here, and we do see some territory south of these mountains. So, potential landmark there, as Metal Dream makes it to Cole for the first time. He'll find his replacement key and nothing on the search spot in all likelihood, and continue on. We do see this wizard. We know there's a treasure guard wizard in Garenham, and I just saw that wizard on Destiny's side used Weak Breath. So, that's something there. Flute acquired, I believe that was in Tablet Cave. I think that was the only chest in Tablet Cave for Artorias. And speaking of spike tiles that are potentially clearable, golems are not very grindable in this flag set because of the random, consistent experience in gold. So they're almost always a bad grind option, but if you need to clear a spike tile 1 time... Oh. Goldmen are usually a good target. Those have DL too. Yikes. Metal Dream also in Tablet gets that flute as well, but to follow up on what I was talking about, Golem's not very grindable, but if you need to clear a spike, say for instance, to get to the princess, or just clear the mini-boss spike at Charlock, or clear Hawksness to check that search spot, the flute can come in handy, and because of the shared inventory, taking up the spot doesn't really hurt you, so the flute is usually at least of some utility in this flag set and in the co-op dynamic. Yeah, 2 fire symbols there. Speaking of fire symbols, dragons sometimes have fire. This one, this red dragon, has hurt. You love to see that. Anytime one of those big run blockers has an ability that nerfs it, it's great to see. Right now, you don't have quite the attack power you'd want to try to take one of those things on, but that is on the table a little bit later. Metal Dream into Grave. I believe we saw Artorias in Grave, and he was unceremoniously dispatched before he could make any progress. We don't have the Radiant spell yet. That is a little bit of a hindrance when it comes to tracking down some of these alternate chest locations. But there is a chest on the far left side of Grave, picked up by Metal Dream, and this gold man, Metal Dream, does not know that it has DL2 and suffers the same fate that Artorias did his first trip into Grave. So we have not seen much of that. We have not seen much of Mountain Cave so far. A lot of dangerous enemies that our combatants cannot quite handle, and speaking of dangerous enemies, Destiny gets DL2 from that Star Wyvern, Shahali Hype. And Dragolf, I believe, just took out a wizard. So this is interesting, because we did see the wizard has weak breath, and the attack power is such now that you can potentially damage race a wizard. Dragolf on 68 attack power and 68 hit points. And we do know that there is a wizard treasure guard right here in Garenham. So now that they have that knowledge, they might try to track this down. You noticed Jeff in chat mentioning that the experience was level on both teams, but that wizard, I think, rolled really high. I think it rolled into the 170s, if I'm not mistaken. So that's an amazing grind if you can find them somewhere in the overworld and high encounter zone. I think what we're going to see here is probably a treasure guard check for Dragolf. And Metal Dream might even be able to get the level for him. He's only 4 experience short. Next level shows up at 1300 experience. So Dragolf is actually just going to pause here and wait for level 9 to come in. Let's see if it offers any help. 3, 8, 6, 6, and heal. So that heal could actually come in handy. You could maybe heal stall in this fight if you really felt like you needed to get some more damage. Artorias is back into Grave. Destorius Duo also has level 9 now. And we got a hurt Magiwyvern here, which on premise is also a fantastic enemy to fight. Destiny's going to try to take this one out, as we see a couple of wizard fights for Wraithchild. And yeah, Dragolf is trying to heal stall this out. Weak Breath will max out at 23. The wizard isn't going to hit for much more than that on their current defense. So he's just herbing up here. Those herbs are worth a little bit more than that heal spell that they picked up on level 9. So he's going to throw the stop spell here, just in case. Could be heal lurking behind. But this wizard is proving difficult, and there's potentially a wizard treasure guard here in Grave for Artorias. I don't know. This monster could be in the zone, or this could be another wizard treasure guard fight on the other side. But yes, that is a 174 experience wizard. So big XP there, and the Stones of Sunlight for Dragolf. Our first quest item acquired of the seed, and that went way better for Artorias. That was a crit for the Silver Harp. So two quest items in rapid succession against those wizard treasure guards, and that was a great job of fighting through both of those. Dragolf really just buying time with those herbs and the heal spell and making sure he gets the stop spell out to block the heal more. We do see on screen right now 50% heal more, 75% weak breath for those wizards, but they're extremely valuable. If you can get the stop spell out on those, get a little bit more attack power, that's going to be one of the best things we'll see in the seed. Goldmen, we now have DL2. Artorias gets sent back, but I have a feeling this might be on purpose. He was able to grab a couple of chests out of the top side of Grave, so there is a gold grind potential on the table for him. He would need to grab this back chest first, and then head to the treasury to try to pull some gold for some better equipment. And we've seen, gotten eyes on a couple of different shops now. That silver shield is, of course, sitting out there, right next door in Cantlin. So just a topside Grave check for Destorius. They're the first team to really clear that top of Grave. And it's interesting here, I did mention earlier this red dragon has shown itself to have hurt. Not only does it have hurt, but it seems to like to cast it a lot. So Metal Dream put the stop spell down and is now just trying to chip away at this red dragon. On 66 defense, they're pretty safe here. I think Red Dragon will max out at maybe 43, 44 in that neighborhood. So a long fight, a protracted fight, potentially better than just running away from it for nothing or getting killed. We actually have Dragolf fighting one at the same time as well. So we'll see if they can get these Red Dragon kills and what they're worth. Reds can vary greatly in this flag set. They can sometimes be worth... Oh, yeah, it does get popped there for 42, does Metal Dream. So wasn't quite able to heal out from under that one. But we'll see if Dragolf has any better luck taking out his, as we do have the Gold Grind in Waiting Destinies menued over to that Silver Shield in the top shop of Cantlin. Just waiting to pick up the extra defense. Jeff pointing out Magic Armor and Coal. That was the one weapon shop I wasn't quite sure about. I didn't think Garenham had much of anything, but Magic Armor would be pretty good right about now. A little bit extra defense over that half plate. 24 versus 16. And I think Metal Dreams picked up the thread on this count again. Maybe has another landmark here at this peninsula. And now, having seen a quest item for both teams, at least from our bird's eye view, we have pretty good knowledge of what might be on that search spot. We've picked up the Fairy Flute. We've picked up the Death Necklace. So we know that those aren't out there. We've also picked up the Stones of Sunlight and the Silver Harp. So there are only 3 possible things that might be left on these overworld coordinates. From our combined knowledge, we know that it's got to be token, sword, or armor. So Destorius has picked up some more gold on spec. They're reasonably survivable right now. On level 9, they do have that heal spell. Speaking of levels, just a quick check-in on the experience. It is still relatively equal. Destorius right now, 1,700 experience points. Wraithchild just over 1,800, and the next level, level 10, will show up at 2,000 experience. So we'll get to see that from there. This wizard would do it if Metal Dream can kill it. But I think he was pretty far underwater already by the time he got into that fight. And maybe had just been checking for a coordinates landmark as he went there, so that might have been an opportune time to take a death anyway. Alright, so we're gonna get level 10 here for Wraithchild. 1 power, 10 speed, 0 hit points, 3 magic points. Okay, so a little bit of agility there, not much else, no new spells. And I think we're getting kind of a bucket brigaded count here for Destorius. They're actually on opposite sides of this mountain range. Artorius is counted down to a landmark, Destiny's standing underneath it. And this is a pretty good way to handle this if you're in this situation. Co-op affords you some opportunities to do some counting in different ways than you might not be able to do solo. Alright, Dragolf is back into Mountain Cave. We've known about this cave being here for quite some time, but both teams have been ejected from it on separate occasions. We know there are blue dragons in this top zone here. That's probably the most concerning thing we've seen so far. Northwest staircase reveals no chest in that random chest location. But speaking of chest, 1 chest in Hawksness, plus search spot potential for Artorius. Just an herb there in the chest. We'll get a check of the spike tile, in all likelihood. It is an Armor Knight. That is probably a non-starter right now. Unless it has some spells that it likes to cast, but it looks like it's just swinging that axe. Artorias is going to get set back, can't run away, but Destiny is going to continue the count, and we have seen a significant number of natural obstacles to this count. Just all over the place. Never mind the deal 2 breath Goldmen and whatever else. Dragolf has made it to the basement of Mountain Cave, 2nd floor. There is a Wyvern on this chest, could be a treasure guard, and is. That's Erdrick's token, so our 3rd remaining quest item. We, watching from above, have full knowledge of all of the quest items now. We had that silver harp in Grave. We had the stones guarded in Garenham by that wizard, and we have the last quest item, the token, here in 2nd floor Mountain Cave. Still a bunch of chest locations to scope out for Dragolf, though, and this zone is not exactly nice. Got some Axe Knights here. Got a couple other things, but there are only 2 more locations to check. There is one in this nook on the way to the last chest. And there is Amanda in the booth, also.
Someone check the right chest.
Did someone check someone did check the right chest, or you would like someone to check the right chest?
No, someone check the right chest for me, is what I'm saying.
Oh, for you. I got it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Looks like there is no final chest in Mountain Cave.
Nope. I'm glad you're here. I need a drink really badly.
Oh, Ashfield. Drinking on the job. Yeah, both teams have found various different things, but right now, none of it is the rather nice to find at this point Erdrick's equipment.
Yeah, that overworld search spot has to be either sword or armor. If it's armor, we're kind of done digging stuff. For what it's worth, sword is a little bit fungible in co-op. You don't really need it necessarily. It can be nice for sure, especially if the mini-boss before the Dragonlord, just really for the spike tile in Charlock and then Dragonlord 1, sword can really be a boost.
Yeah, right now I'd mostly like it for the pre-Charlock things, because the enemies aren't always easy to kill. We've seen Hurtmore, we've seen Little Breath, and we have not seen, I believe we haven't seen a flame sword, so...
Right.
It would be really nice to be able to get your hands on a sword just to kill things to get to go level.
I will say, there was a little bit of a desync for Dragolf and Metal Dream, which might be the cause of some consternation right now. Metal Dream actually lost some experience there. That's something that can happen with some internet chop now and again, but they are back on the same experience total. And on level 11 now. By the way, Destorius, just as a side note, has picked up magic armor. So you see there with that silver shield, they are already on 77 defense. So the agility is pretty reasonable in this one. It's almost into the 70s as of level 11. And I think right now, unless I'm mistaken, I feel like Dragolf and Metal Dream are kind of coordinating on this count. I think that's the...
Yeah. I think it has to be. Dragolf has taken a lot of long pauses and is currently looking wistfully over a river. That's pretty much a good indication that there's a landmark check going on.
Yeah. The seed is not nearly rough enough that you would spend some time just staring wistfully across a river. There are some seeds in which you might do that just as a matter of course, but this is not one of them. Artorias, having succeeded again... He killed the Treasure Guard wizard in Grave with a crit, and he does it again. Just waltzes right up to it and says, "Get out of here, I have no time for this." Picks up the Stones of Sunlight. It's weird to say something like that is a massive time save, but we saw how long Dragolf was fighting that Treasure Guard wizard. He used his entire supply of herbs, he used at least a couple heal spells and a stop spell, and then had to swing 5 or 6 times. That was actually like a kind of a massive comparative time save for Artorias right there.
Yeah, it's certainly nice to get. On the other side, Dragolf was taking a exceedingly long time to kill the spike tile green in Swamp Cave. Does find no chest but Gwaelin, so that could speed things up if he can get Gwaelin fast enough for Metal Dream to finish the count on that side.
That said, Destiny has just finished the count and has picked up Erdrick's sword. Very well done by Destorius there. That said, we'll get a princess return for Wraithchild, and Wraithchild currently has about 1,000 experience point advantage all of a sudden. Since the last time I checked in on levels, they've really been churning away on that. But the tables could turn on that very quickly now, because Destorius does have the harp out of grave. They still need to get hold of that token, but they do have Erdrick's sword. So in theory, there's some they'll be cleaning up a little bit faster than their opponents will be at the moment. But that advantage might not last long with the Princess
Metal Dream
Rescue.
is at the landmark as well, so in perfect position to make use of that princess now.
Yeah.
Did take a couple seconds longer than it could have because Dragolf went into Cole by accident, Caitlyn by accident instead of Tanagel. Maybe he just wanted to show Gwaelin the radish shot that he wouldn't be taking her to.
Entirely possible. Artorias is back into Mountain Cave, but he has been, I believe, back attack DL2'd and then didn't get away on his run chance. Might have just been a double run fail, I'm not sure, but that's pretty disappointing. He was actually pretty close to getting that last quest item. The token is sitting right there in Mountain Cave. Jeff saying it was a double run fail.
Meanwhile,
so
another racer, Metal Dream, currently very close to dying as well. He is almost certainly has a beat on his count relatively, but has lost all of his resources now and is just trying to get there.
I think he's just past the spot where I saw Destiny pick up the sword, actually, so if he hasn't pinged with the GPS lately, he probably wants to do that now. He's going to have to double back a little bit.
Yeah, it looks like he's pinging now, so a little bit of a walk back. Hopefully he can make it there.
Yeah, not a huge deal under normal circumstances, but as you said, 39 hit points left, no healing. He's just going to step this the rest of the way out. Sighting of Charlock on screen on Destiny's side. I'm not sure if that's our first Charlock sighting. Oh no, and the Axe Knight is gonna get Metal Dream before he can get to those coordinates. Extremely unfortunate.
And fourth, maybe a controller issue or something. And that may have, obviously, I don't know how the algorithm that decides these things works, but that may have been the deciding factor, because I think he might have been able to walk those extra steps otherwise.
Yeah, he had gone kind of back and forth there a little bit after he'd used the GPS on the other side of the bridge, and then just taken a couple extra steps, so... yeah, I mean, sometimes those steps can be a little bit costly, but we'll see what happens here. They do have to go back for that. They know they're still missing the harp. They're still missing both Erdrick's things. So,
and speaking of costly, Artorias and Metal Dream catching up on experience now a little bit. They've lessened the gap thanks to that sword, thanks to being able to just kill more things faster and easier. They're starting to chip away at it a bit. They're not within sight of it yet, but
those wizards,
every time they get a wizard, yeah.
Every time you get a wizard with the sword versus without the sword, those are so incredibly valuable. You've basically cut your average number of swings in half, and those wizards rolled so high that they're incredible to fight. I think Destiny's going to try to race this Armored Knight. This is somewhat less likely, although the defense is pretty good.
Okay, this actually helps out for Wraithchild. Dragolf was already in the area and is just a couple spots away.
Does pick up sword just as they also gain level 12. I did not actually see the stats come in on that one, but we'll get a look on the heads-up display momentarily. That's a decent attack power bump. 5. Actually, no, it's a pretty big attack power bump off level 11.
Really nice MP bump, especially.
Yeah, big MP there. Metal Dream sent packing by that Star Wyvern again. Jeff pointing out Artorias killed a wizard with no crit, so that's a first for him, I think. And Schmeik mentioning 18, 1, 8, 13, the specifics on that level. Of course, it'll vary slightly depending on which build you happen to be looking at the time. But we are approaching Go again, and we are looking for that Heal More spell again, so this seed has kind of similar vibes to yesterday's seed, honestly. We had a similar situation where Destorius was behind on experience for a decent portion of the seed, and then we're able to just kind of leverage their exploration a little bit faster.
This is tough to watch for Metal Dream.
Yeah, Metal Dream is not getting an encounter. What is going on?
He is desperate.
That was an entire loop of overworld music. I've got his music tuned in right now, and that was an entire loop of overworld music, walking in desert tiles with no encounter.
So it looks like this is going to be their chosen grind, but we've just seen one example of why sometimes the overworld grind can be exceedingly frustrating. They are rappelling down to it, so that's going to muddy the waters a bit more.
Yeah, that might be the only encounter that they're currently getting in this zone. They do have 71 and 73 defense points, respectively, Dragolf and Metal Dream. So it is a valuable Axe Knight. 189 is pretty good. And there weren't any, as I recall, there weren't really any good wizard zones. There were some wizards hanging out in different places, but I think they were in zones with other unfavorable encounters.
Yeah, meanwhile, Destiny on the spike tile, I don't know if they've checked the princess chest, because I think Destiny checked the top chest on the way by.
Right. But
that's definitely not a great green dragon. 110, you're saying?
No.
It's not great. They didn't roll too far down, but they didn't,
It's toward the bottom of the range, yeah. It is repeatable on a spike, which you like, but the Axe Knight just seems a lot better. Yeah, and Destorius, having counted out those coordinates, had no reason to check the Gwaelin chest until just now, so I think Destiny is thinking, you know what, this grind is okay. He might stick around for this, but
nope.
He does he might just be heading through, I think, because otherwise he likely would not have outsided.
Yeah, I think maybe they didn't check this before, because like I said, they did check the north chest, so they may be checking the south chest now.
Yeah,
but that
sure.
has allowed Metal Dream and Dragolf to restabilize their experience a little bit. It was nearly in a tie there for a moment, but it's starting to creep back up again.
Yeah, that said, 5,500 experience points now, so that is level 13 for them. 6, 3, 30, and 6, so a huge HP bump there, and I think all of a sudden, again, just as yesterday, essentially Go stats, no heal more.
That said, right now, armor could very well be in Sharlock. I don't know if it can, where else can it be at this point?
Well, we haven't seen any of Deep Grave, I don't think. And I don't think we've seen Brecconary for the chest there, and I don't think we've seen Rim for the chest there. And that's probably it. I know we've seen both Stones and Tablet. We also hadn't seen Staff Cave until just now, I think, when Dragolf just found it, but they are the team that does not currently have the Silver Harp.
Oof. At least they've got the information, but that is always a bit rough finding that without the Silver Harp.
Yeah, so I think those are just... I think that's the total of our remaining checks. I think it's just Deep Grave. I think it's Brecconary, and I think it's Rim. And I think this is a good play by Destiny. He was looking for experience, and he knows there's just this treasure guard sitting here in Garenham, so if he's going through the back anyway... And I think they're going to try to redive Mountain here because they're still looking for that last quest item. So just take the wizard on your way through.
Meanwhile, Metal Dream into Grave, potentially a check of Deep Grave here, but that means with the outstanding checks we have, there are 9 possible chests still outside of Sharlock. So... Oh, and we do get Metal Dream spotting that as a treasure guard.
Yeah, he wanted to run from it for the check, because I think at this point Wraithchild is likely to limit the number of encounters they take. They know where the stats are, they know they don't really need much else, they're just looking for the items so they can get gone. It really was not looking like Go level would be close on level 12, but that huge HP bump just all of a sudden vaulted you into great fairy water range. And so they have to explore in earnest right now because they know the clock is kind of ticking. If Artorias is ahead on exploration, or pardon me, Destorius is ahead on exploration, they have to get this the homework done and dusted as quickly as possible.
That said, if armor is in Sherlock, you wouldn't say no to extra experience potentially, but that's obviously a gamble to try to go for that, and you could also just in the same time do it in 2 dives, because you never know if the next level is actually going to let you escape Sherlock in one piece.
Yes. And of course, here again, I mean, you do want to be picky about your encounters and don't take anything inefficient, but missing heal more, it does mean you still need some experience. It's just a matter of if you've decided that your grind is much better than taking stuff while you travel. You can kind of skip some things, like we see Metal Dream just ditching the blue. That's an extensive fight for not much experience in the seed. So not gonna bother with those and just kind of be picky a little bit about what they decide to take. But Artorias has picked up tokens, so both teams have all of the quest items now. Wraithchild was the first team to spot Staff Cave, I believe.
This is a potential treasure guard here.
Yes, it is. Metal Dream applied the stop spell, gets this wizard down, and that is Erdrick's armor, so Wraithchild just in grind and go mode right now. They just need heal more, and as soon as they get it, they can get the rainbow drop, or they can get the rainbow drop first if they want. Main point, they need the rainbow drop and they need heal more.
There are 2 things they need.
2 things. There are specifically 2 things they need, the rainbow drop and heal more. The order does not matter. But they can't get into Charlock without the rainbow drop, and they can't beat the game without heal more.
Rainbow drop, heal more, and Charlock. They need 3 things.
3 things. 3 things. 3.
A grind, a rainbow drop, Charlock, and heal more. 4 things they need. 4 things they need. I'm going to stop the joke now.
Okay. Jeff actually, I think, has the right of it. They need exactly 1 thing, which is the ball of light. It's just that all of the other things are prerequisites to acquiring said item. I think there's 1 thing missing here. Had we seen how much the red dragons were worth? Because those with hurt, and once you get armor, I feel like those are pretty great with sword.
Yeah, it's... Right now we've got about a 1,000 experience point gap.
Yeah, Artorias is diving grave. Destiny is grinding was checking the Armor Knight, I think. I don't know that they had cleared that spot yet. So we'll take 1 Armor Knight and get gone.
Yeah, as the question in chat, the ball of light is in fact something you recover from the family-friendly corpse of the Dragon Lord. And then you return it as your last action of the game.
Dragolf has picked up one of the however many things we've established they need before they can win. That is the rainbow drop. So they do have everything they need to access Charlock. It's just a matter now of grinding until they get heal more. Is Artorias on the treasure guard for the armor?
I think now he is. It was just 1 tile off.
He crits the wizard again. I don't even know what to say at this point. I don't know what to say. Artorias has crit more treasure guards this seed than he has not.
I'm not even sure he knows or cares that it has heal more.
I think they know because Destiny's fought at least 1, but he.
Yes, but
if you're just going to crit,
Artorias know.
No, well that's true. As we know in co-op, you can sometimes, one person can have a piece of information, and they can even say that piece of information out loud 2 or 3 or 8 times, and the other person just does not absorb it at all. And in Artorias' case, it doesn't matter.
I consider it the highest honor when I completely miss what you're talking about.
What was that?
Huh?
Yeah?
But EXP gap with that wizard killed did shrink a little bit, but now has regained position thanks to Arturius and Destiny trying to get back to a grind.
Yeah, they're still looking for their trade-ins as well. They do not have the staff yet. They do not have the rainbow drop. So I think they're still exploring in earnest for both of those things and just trying to take reasonably valuable encounters while they travel.
Well, the good news is, especially with Arturius' record on them, the wizards are the most valuable encounter in the game for them. So maybe they can find a few while exploring.
Yes, the wizards on average probably about 90 experience points a swing, unless you're Artorias, in which they're 174 experience points a swing on average. Metal Dream, I think, has decided to settle in on this Armored Knight. It's around its usual experience total. It's not a disgusting fight. 89 defense right now with the Silver Shield on the agility build for Metal Dream. So he can race these pretty effectively. It would take a couple of dodges for him to be in any real danger on 118 hit points. So as a repeatable spike goes, this is pretty decent.
Honestly, at this point, you'd maybe even prefer the green dragon just because it's broken, but it's only broken, I think, for one of them. And
yeah.
Also, it's far away and not worth much.
Yeah, not worth much, but Metal Dream would be breaking the green right now. Dragolf wouldn't, which is an interesting disparity in the builds at this specific point. Artorias has located Staff of Rain Cave, so he's got one piece of the puzzle in place for a Destorius duo. That said, and I keep saying that said, it's a vocal tick at this point. Wraithchild does continue. That said, Wraithchild continues to build the lead here, is now just 350 experience points-ish away from level 15.
I am curious, did Wraithchild not turn in the drop yet? Because Dragolf is just wandering around.
They do have the drop. I think potentially he was looking for this red dragon. We know it has a bunch of... It likes to cast Hurt a lot. So I was wondering if they might head back to this, because we saw the Hurt Reds earlier. They even tried to kill some, but I guess they're worth actually less than the wizards in the sea. They're worth 157. That's Return and Heal more, though, and Hurt more. So we are fully go for everybody on level 15.
And a nice little boost to some of their stats as well. So that'll be helpful.
Yeah, you see across the board there, especially for Metal Dream, everything is in the green. And the strength, again, does not really matter very much. Your strength at a level right now that with Sword, you're not concerned about the Charlock mini-boss or about DL1 whittling away your resources. That's plenty good, 117, 123. And the agility's fine, and the hit points are good, and the magic points are good. See full 14 heal mores there for Metal Dream. So, yeah, you like where the stats are right now on level 15. And Destorius Duo does have the rainbow drop now, so...
Artorias does get sent back by an Armored Knight he probably would have liked to kill instead.
Yeah, they're just 1,100 experience points shy, just actually a little under that, actually, of the go level. I will say, though, Dragolf and Metal Dream kind of walk in separate directions, so do they know where Charlock is?
I think maybe not. Maybe that's actually what Dragolf was searching for, not even the red dragon, just
Might
Charlock
have been.
himself.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. I hadn't thought about that until just now, but I think the only time I remember seeing Charlock was on Destiny's screen, and it was a little bit off the beaten path, but Metal Dream has arrived.
And that's good for them, because Dragolf is the one with no resources. If he'd arrived, he would have just had to, turn around and find a town somewhere.
Turn around and find a town, and I don't think there are any towns that are particularly close here. So Dragolf, instead of an immediate double dive, he's pretty far out of position for this Charlock, so I think he's just going to take care of the shopping here in Cantlin get set up with probably ditching some inventory and picking up some fairy water.
I think Metal Dream already ditched inventory, maybe? He was at these shops for it. Oh, I guess not. I guess when Cantlin is so close, there's no reason to pre-ditch inventory.
This is very true. You can just outside and return, or just plain return, and Cantlin's right there at start, so your fairy water pickups are quite close.
Our Armored Knights in Charlock. Haven't seen the red, though it wouldn't be much to worry about in itself anyway. Have seen a Golem back attack, because of course.
A Silver Shield is going to be pretty good value here because the Star Wyverns have shown a propensity to use DL2 quite a lot, and on 89 defense, Metal Dream is repelling 4 things in Charlock, so he'll dip into the Fairy Water reserves there to get rid of the wizards, the werewolves, if they exist in the seed. I don't think we've seen any. The Star Wyverns, and the Green Dragons. So he'll only be seeing the 6 other Charlock enemies from this point forward, and we know that the Reds have hurt and casted a lot, so they're not even especially threatening. This should be a reasonably expeditious Charlock dive, but I guess there is at least one mini-boss that we don't have great knowledge on. That's the Golem, and then I guess maybe we haven't seen many Stonemen either. So, who knows?
Yeah, the one Golem I've seen was the back attack one. So not really a lot of information, because obviously, even if they back attack you, they shouldn't run block you.
Right.
That said, these Armored Knights have given him a bit of trouble in the run block department, and may now cost Metal Dream a heal more, but not quite.
Not quite. He is down to 1 herb now, though, and he's gotten 2 Armored Knights alone just in the short floor before the final basement, so he's going to have to use his last herb. Does have plenty of spare healing resources, though, 110 magic points. Artorius is going to enter Charlock. Destorius did pick up level 15 on that dual Green Dragon grind, and it looks like they are in position to double dive this Charlock. That said, Metal Dream on the final basement.
It's looking like between the Armored Knights and no other encounters so far that Zone 0 might just be 1 or 2 Armored Knights and everything else repelled. We've seen 4 in a row now. 5. Charlock bottom zone looks to definitely be Oops All Armored Knight. And potentially going to, breaking into the MP here with little heals. And then finding a blue dragon on the spike. To the question in chat, the advantage to a double dive, especially when the Fairywater town is so close, is basically you're hedging your bets. If one player runs into a lot of bad luck, that team doesn't really have to worry, because they're in better position to have someone get down with more resources. Doesn't look like that's going to cost Metal Dream and Dragoff, but they do have to use a Healmorn before the DL2 fight, actually, so this could actually be a bit nervy depending on rolls.
Generally speaking, on these resources, I would not expect much trouble here. 12 Healmors, you can get it done on 10, and they do have enough hit points in defense that you would expect some doubles here.
No back attack there.
What was that first roll, by the way?
14, I believe.
Alright, so we've got a 14 and a 12 on the board so far. 26 for Metal Dream and Dragoff. There's another 14, we're at 40. A clean 40.
Oh, clean numbers. Oh, 14, we're not a clean number.
There's a 16, I believe 56, unless I have already made a misstep. There's a 10 for 66. The benchmark I usually look for is if you're on or above 80 with 80 damage with 5 heal mores left, you're probably going to get there, and that's an 11. So we're at 77 already with 6 heal mores left. This feels pretty good. Artorias is in the final basement, but Metal Dream is now on 91 with 5 heal mores left, so it looks like he's in great shape.
I think no rolls have really been below average if you consider 12 the average, which isn't quite, but that's generally where I kind of put it.
Yeah, it's been really good so far. Just slightly above average to this point. 120 now. And actually Metal Dream is safe to throw a Fairy Water here if he wants to, but he's gonna play it safe there and just throw the Fairy Water, avoid the potential for a bad heal more leading to a double heal more. And now on 136. And they must feel pretty good about it because Dragolf is gone. Yeah. Hey, 14 for a clean 150. Any throw here can do it. 165 is the max total. So Metal Dream, even if he doesn't get him on this Fairy Water throw, can confidently chuck another one. But 164 will get it done. And we're going to get a game 3.
And get your GGs out in chat. We are headed, as Archfield said, for game 3, and it's going to be exciting. This race looks like it's probably going to be not that far apart either, so...
Another great race here. What a treat so far in this best of 3. We have had 2 just great races to watch. Both teams really not making any missteps. And we're going to have another really close finish here in this one. But yes, Wraithchild does even the score after yesterday's Distorius win. Now we're going to have a deciding game 3. Yet to be scheduled. Wow, what another barn burner of a race today. That wasn't quite as fast as yesterday's, but it certainly was. It felt very pacey, right? I think this flag set just comes out feeling like it's kind of moving along at a good clip, even when things are maybe a little sloggier than usual.
Yeah, I feel like generally you expect to see somewhere in the 50-minute mark for this flag set.
Yeah.
So this is technically, I suppose you could argue, slightly slower, but certainly didn't feel like it watching.
Yeah, really only slow compared to yesterday's race, which was a true jet. But joining us, having even the score in the finals, it's Metal Dream and Dragolf. GG to both of you.
Thank you. Oh, geez, this was nerve-wracking.
I can't imagine. This felt like the kind of seed where it almost had to be a little bit nervy because the exploration was just kind of all over the place and there were untimely deaths and everything else, but I'm curious to know mostly what your big takeaways were, what you thought the big points were in this race.
You can go ahead.
Like you said,
having issues with
yeah.
push it, I'll be back.
Okay. Yeah, really, it was just like you said, like the exploration was all over the place. No real like good spot mid game to grind. Like it was, I don't know. It felt like we were like behind like the whole time. Like.
Yeah, that was one of the things that I had in my mind just thinking about this from the perspective if we were racing this seed. Man, I don't know how you felt about it, but it was that kind of seed where you just think, really, no matter what you do in the seed, you're probably going to feel just a little bit behind. It had that kind of a vibe to it.
Yeah, it's especially with a bunch of, like, I think were all 3 treasure guarded chests for items, the wizard block. That was actually exceedingly dangerous for a long while. I believe sent both of you home at one point.
Yeah, and they had heal more. Like we didn't know until like Metal Dream fought one just before I did the guard. It was just right on time. He found out that they had heal more, so the fight went kind of smoothly after. But yeah, it was a tough guard for early, anyways.
Yeah, you really, I thought, finessed the fight on which you succeeded, Dragolf. I thought that was a great fight. You had to use all of your herbs and a bunch of heals, but you got the job done and were able to clear that treasure guard. But it was one of those things where you know if it's sword or armor at that point, it's a huge boost. So you kind of have to force that if you can.
Yeah, I tend to do that when we do our like just personal seeds, when we just play around. Like I like to push the limit of how soon I can kill a guard. Like Metal Dream is not always happy about it, but you know.
No, I know how that is, but it is a pretty big deal. If you pull sword there, for instance, then that just sort of, even though you've had broadsword the entire seed at that point, the sword just really makes everything so much easier for that point, especially because you don't have hurt more access early in the seed.
Yeah, and with those red dragons with like 75% hurt and probably like a 25% heal, that was pretty good.
I did get burned trying to kill the first one. I thought it was gonna be good, but I don't. They didn't give too much though. It was a long fight for. It would have still been good if we were able to kill all those that went our way, but.
Yeah, that was the thing about it. The Wizards rolled up, I think, to 174, if I'm remembering correctly. So that's a lot, but for most of the seed, they were just not great value because of it was really a hassle of a fight. For most people, but not for one half of the Destorius duo, Artorias and Destiny joining us now in the booth as well. I'll jump into that right now because I want to get it out of the way, but Artorias, if you could teach all of us the trick to just critting treasure guards, I think we would all appreciate it.
Is it juicing?
I cannot confirm nor deny. My trainer gave me some special medication today, and so, but yeah, 3 for 3 on the wizard treasure guards.
You were 3 for 3.
Wow.
You just blasted
Amazing.
all 3 of them, and we talked about it at the time. I didn't really think it would be a big deal, but as the race was tightening up toward the end, I started to think the fact that Dragolf had to spend so long on that first wizard treasure guard in Garenham, and then Artorias waltzes up to it and crushes it in one swing. I thought, wow, is that actually going to be meaningful in the race? But at the end of the day, not quite there for you in this one. I want to get your thoughts, both of you, Artorias and Destiny, how you thought this one went, and kind of if you thought there were any sort of main points that you wanted to talk about.
First off, GG's, Dragolf and Meldream, well done. Let's see, I mean, I didn't think it was too horrible. Trying to find a grind felt bad, so I'm really curious to watch back to see what they did. And I don't know, I think the two things that just stick out, and I'm sure Destiny would say the same thing, would be the coordinate count and, unfortunately, that darn bottom floor of Sharlock.
Yeah, I
Was
think
it like triple AKs down there? Many AKs.
It certainly felt like it didn't. There were so. I think what Metal Dream, you got at least 2 armored knights just in the short floor before the final basement, and then Destorius really just got hammered by armored knights on that final basement.
Yeah, I think I got 3 in the short floor. It felt like it anyway. Pretty sure I had one back to back and then one a little bit further. So bad.
GG guys, yeah, those armored knights, and then we were at like 70 some agility, so not that terrible against the armored knights, but multiple run fails, lost multiple heal mores down there. At least Artorias and I gave us quite the challenge.
So I'd like to ask you, did you count this coordinate or you went for another princess rescue?
Counting would be a generous way to put it. We did not use Gwaelin. We landmarked it across the mountains and the swamp tiles, and then there was another point where you had to cross water, and then I went down and then got to it, and then I had forgotten that the Overworld Treasure Guards was turned off for the co-op tournament flag set. And so I knew that since we already had a Death Necklace and Fairy Flute, that the coordinates would have some other item that typically has a treasure guard. So I just start, carelessly walking in a circle because I hit the spot that I thought the coordinates were on. Nothing was there. So I just start walking around waiting to stumble into a treasure guard. And Artorias reminds me that there's no overworld treasure guard. And I go, well, yeah, there is, because we already have Death Necklace and Fairy Flute. And he goes, no, Destiny, there's no overworld treasure guard. Oh, so I ended up taking a death while searching all of the tiles over there, and so I had to redo the count, and even then something went wrong, and I was still a few tiles off and had to do some searching, so that definitely cost us some time.
Well, I think it evened out because we kind of botched it this seed as well. I completely went the wrong way at first. I went east instead of west, and then I made a landmark in the little swamp, to which Drogolf saw from the other side of Swamp Cave. And then I found like a little grinding zone in the south, which was to his left. So we kind of tried to finesse it like this, like in a 3-step relay. And then I went south and saw that it was over the water, and we just said, screw it, let's just get the princess. I go there with the princess, and I realized that I went too far, and while trying to double back, I get sniped by an Axe Knight. It was a fiasco.
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah, I think both teams, just the encounters that were kind of in the zones on the way there, and just the resources that both teams had when they got to the neighborhood, it was just, it was kind of, I think you both teams did a great job with the count, but there were certainly it felt like obstacle after obstacle after obstacle thrown in your path. I mean, honestly, even Caitlin being right outside, neither team even got the coordinates for some time because you didn't have any healing and just had to use herbs to get across, and you both got the coordinates at roughly the same time. So it was just one of those counts that ended up being kind of a big thing. I want to do two things really quick. First of all, Destiny, that was the most co-op story I've ever heard. It was great. Second, I want to thank Brian Williams42 for rating in. He was in a DWR race before this, and I'm going to give him a special shout out because he is the individual responsible for fashioning the co-op Lewis script for DWR use. And so without him, we would not be able to have these tournaments and run these races. So a special shout out for him right now. But there's really a lot we could talk about in this one, but I think you covered most of it already. Do any of you have anything else that you want to add at the end of this one here?
I did like Destiny's idea of selling a key to get closer to the broadsword at the beginning.
Yes.
My thought was, well, I have a torch glitch. Let's just sell the torches at 4 gold a pop. But he's like, no, I'll just sell a key or two. And so that definitely helped out for sure.
Yeah, I noticed that. That was kind of the way that you both had taken the chest meant you didn't get the starting gold grind potential. And so you were just kind of looking for that opening weapon. And yeah, I saw he's grinding torches. That's interesting. And then I was like, oh, he's selling some torches. He's going to sell a key here to try to get that broadsword. And I thought a really great maneuver. It was very heads up play.
You must have played a very good seed because we started with the gold grind right off the bat, broad half in silver. And we thought it was pretty rough on the damage side. So considering that there's a very small difference in between our times, with a difference at the start like that, I think you gained a ton of time on us during the seed. It would be interesting to watch back. Now, well played. GG's.
We talked about this a little bit with Wraithchild, but I want to ask both members of Destorius now, because we mentioned it, they mentioned it, it was the kind of seed that we thought, even as watching it, that if you're playing it, you maybe feel a little bit behind all of the time. How did you feel throughout this one? Did you think you were ahead of the pace, behind the pace? What was the vibe?
I forget exactly when. I want to say it was 49 minutes or so. I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised to see a finish at any moment. But that was also before I realized we did not have Healmore yet. But yeah, I was like, shoot, it feels like something where we were just behind, dying in certain spots, stuff like that. But yeah, I agree. I think it's no matter on what side you are, you just feel behind because, like, I started off trying to find that mid-game grind, never really took off.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I think that there are certain seeds that just have that feel to them where you say, you know what, enough has gone wrong here. It feels bad. And there were certainly both teams had deaths at points. I think both teams got kicked out of Grave. Both teams got kicked out of Mountain Cave. Both teams, I think, maybe even took a death while they were searching out the coordinates. So it is very easy to see why it probably felt that way from both ends.
But yeah, just to real quick go to what Metal said about catching up after they had the gold grind. I mean, when one of your teammates has a 1 in 17 crit rate, I mean, that's just... that helps a little bit.
That sure helps.
Well played, guys. I mean, another tight race. We fulfilled our promises on this end. We're gonna make it to a game 3. A perfect finish for this tournament, I think.
Also, can I say, I think 3 minutes in both races, so we're all tied up, not only at 1 apiece going into the final one.
Yeah, the differential is pretty tight.
Dead even, I'd say.
So that means you guys are going to blow us out by 20 minutes next time, right?
You know what? I hope not. I hope for another nail biter. But win or lose on our end. Just super happy to make it to a final match 3. It's the best I can ask for, to be honest.
Yeah, we see questions in chat about when race 3 is going to be. We hadn't discussed that. We wanted to get the 2 here out of the way and see if we needed a race 3, and we do. So we'll get back to the drawing board and see when our schedules line up and take care of the grand finale of the Co-op Challenge Cup as soon as we can.
Excellent. Thanks to all 4 of you for the race. Thanks for stopping by to chat with us. Really appreciate it. And I think I speak for everybody here when I say we're really, really looking forward to Game 3.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure all of us are too. It's going to be a blast. I cannot wait myself.
Thank you, Archfield. Thank you, Mand and Jeff and Shahali for putting the restream again together here today. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I seconded. Thank you, everybody, for putting this together once again. Thank you for the viewers. Thank you, Distor's Duo, for a great match. Thank you, Dragolf, for being a great partner. And let's have another great one, a final one.
Alright, so with that, I think we'll call it for today. Stay tuned on the DWR Discord. I'll put some links in chat. You'll see the links for all of our runners' channels for today. You'll also see the links to our crew. Sans Mand, whose link is not in chat because he joined midstream today, but I thank him very much for that.
I mean, you forgot me yesterday too, so, you know.
Did I?
I think so.
I don't know.
I think it was last minute yesterday too, and you
well, it was probably last minute. It's fine. But if you take a look there, the link to the Discord is present, and you will see that. I would also be very remiss if I did not plug the summer tournament, which I guess that link probably isn't active right now. It's fine. If you check the About information on the Twitch page right now, you will see the links to the summer tournament rules, which will then guide you to the sign up, so you can of course stop by the Discord for any information on that. But the deadline for the async qualifiers is coming up at the end of this week, I believe on Friday at noon, so you can check that out if you're interested in summer tournament. But we do have a little bit of business to take care of here first, and we will let you know over there on Discord as soon as Game 3 is scheduled. So, with that, that's going to wrap it up for us today. I want to thank everybody again. Jeff, Shahali for tracking, Man for joining me in the booth. I'm Archfield, your restreamer and one half of your commentary team today. I do not immediately see a raid. You can head over, I would recommend someone though, you can head over to Jake Coper. He is going to play some DWR possibly after his current Link to the Past randomizer cross keys tournament race, but since he's in the middle of a tournament race, I do not think it's necessarily a good idea to raid in for him. But so just to throw a recommendation out there, if you would like to see possibly some more DWR later this evening, Jake Coper, an excellent racer. So until next time, thanks everyone for stopping by, and we will see you very soon. Take care, everybody.